Rohan's Corner, working overtime, recording fine, that's just prime. Super reviews, which will neutralize Hasbro's wave of crimes. Magic Square to the rescue, and New Age has got such super paintwork. Rohan is the mighty power that can save the day. Rohan. No one knows what lies behind his wall of fame. Rohan, always riding hard on Hasbro's trail. Come see the memes he plays every Friday.
For a time, I considered sparing your wretched full planet Cybertron. But now, you shall witness its dismemberment. Good evening, welcome to Rohan's Corner. And tonight is a very special edition of the corner. It is episode 100 of Rohan's Corner. So thank you to all of you for watching, liking, subscribing, and commenting on any other YouTube channel except for this one. But in all seriousness, how better a way to mark this momentous occasion than to have a traditional Rohan's Corner through the generations review of Legacy Blitzwing. Yes, that's right, a Transformer I don't own. How's that gonna work? Well, let's put it this way. I have been looking forward to a new Blitzwing for a long time. I have been looking forward to a good Blitzwing from Hasbro forever. And if we look out there on the market, there are not very many good ones. Let's go back all the way to Generation 1. Here he is, my favorite alt mode Blitzwing, G1 Blitzwing, with his lovely tank form here. Mine's a little bit loose, but you can see the tank mode is brilliant. The plane mode was decent. The robot mode was horrific. As with most G1 toys, the robot modes suffered significantly. And later editions of the character, i.e. the Classics or Generations edition, wasn't really G1 tune accurate. We had the Titans Return, or in this case, Takara Legends version of the character here. And while it sort of is a homage to Blitzwing, it's not very tune accurate. And although in this variant of the toy they actually got it the right way round for the tank mode, which we'll come on and talk about later, it's still not my favorite for tank mode. And you can see the fact that I've got 2 out of my 3 Blitzwings here in tank mode. That tank mode is my favorite mode for Blitzwing, and why not? How often is it that we get a tank in Transformers lore in prominency in a cartoon or in a toy line? It's quite rare. In fact, let's think about it. How many tanks have we had in Generation 1? We had Blitzwing, Warpath, and Slammer, and that was pretty much it if you're talking about realistic tanks. Yes, okay, we had some adaptations further down the line, and Megatron has been a tank a few times, but still not the same thing. And so a few years ago, I did a review on this channel here with you guys of MechFans Toys Blitzwing, probably my favorite Blitzwing toy created to date. And it's fantastic in all 3 modes. It does the job. It's a great tank, it's a great jet, and it's a great robot. However, he's a little bit small. He's great for my Legends collection. Could somebody pump him up? OSKO him, please? That's what we need in a generation scale as a leader class bot. So a couple of years ago, there were some story leaks. People were talking about there's an upcoming Blitzwing toy. It's going to be leader class. It might be part of Studio Series 86. Amazing! Except it turned out it's not part of Studio Series 86. It's part of Legacy. But does it really matter? It's just a label. Ultimately, no, it didn't matter. But if we look at the images of Legacy Blitzwing here, The robot mode looks fantastic. Absolutely spot on. There is nothing I would really change about his robot mode from the front on. He looks great. Tank mode. No. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. In Generation 1, the original Blitzwing toy was advertised on TV adverts, came from the Diaclone toy line, which is why it's so good. The alt modes are fantastic because Takara did a fantastic job. And when they created Blitzwing, Blitzwing was designed based on a Japanese Type 74 tank. And if you look at said tank, in the vehicle, the turret actually sits relatively far forward on the plinth itself. However, when the toy was passed over to Hasbro, they decided to change the color scheme. Fair enough. They gave it a desert camo with purple. Okay, it's something different. And it gave you a little bit more in terms of the jet mode, and it worked for the tank mode. What they did do was that they marked the instructions and the adverts with his tank mode as we see it, with the front lights here and the thrusters below his turret, with the cockpit of the jet hanging out the back. However, some idiot gave Sunbow, Toei Animation, and ACOM the wrong animation storyboards and had his tank mode the wrong way round. Now, in terms of the cartoon, it wasn't so bad because they based it on the toy model. And so the protrusion of the jet cockpit, although a bit silly looking and having a yellow underside for his head, wasn't ideal. It didn't come out badly in the cartoon because it was massaged, as everything in the cartoon is massaged. However, Legacy Blitzwing. What is that? That is just ridiculous. And yes, you can get an aftermarket kit to resolve this issue to an extent, but it still doesn't make it better. And unfortunately, the tank mode is not even the worst part. There is the jet mode. Yeah, I can't even look at it. You tell me. I mean, it's a tank hanging off the underside of a jet. Great, look at it from the top. It looks cool. Look at it from any other angle. Not so much. And yes, there have been some fan-based fixes for this figure, which you may not be aware of. For instance, there is a fan-based jet mode, which looks pretty good, which uses the kibble as a stand. And I think it looks great. Whoever did this, hats off to you. All my pictures here have been stolen from TFW 2005. Credit to them. Why can't we have something like this from Hasbro? They realize, surely, that the jet mode is awful, so fix it. And in addition to that, there have been some people who have modified Blitzwing. For example, our very own David Whidden from TF UK on aggregated jet mode, which looks good as a jet. And actually, if you do that, there is a way to build up the tank and have both alt modes displayed separately. The tank is a little bit holy, but it does work. These are some options. Also on TFW, I found a chap who had modified even further, heavy duty modified the cockpit area to push it back so it didn't sit so far out in tank mode, but still came out significantly for the jet mode. And you can see here it requires quite a bit of modding, cutting into the plastic and moving a pin along the way. I don't think I'm that brave. However, it does look excellent. But all of this, just to get our G1 aesthetic Blitzwing, is a bit of a pain. And here we see what we're trying to achieve. Through the generations, we've had various Blitzwings, all trying to achieve that cartoon accuracy, and we're not quite there yet. Maybe if I got 2 Legacy Blitzwings, I could keep one in robot mode, and I could turn the other one, modify it into a jet and a tank, and have all 3 on display, and that would be cool. But realistically, if we could oversize KO, the G1 original, then that would be perfect for the alt modes, and Legacy would be great for the robot mode. But it's not all doom and gloom for Blitzwing. Let's be honest, there have been some far worse Transformers out there, especially in Generation 1, the likes of G1 Broadside, who, unfortunately, is a bit of a brick. In his robot mode, in his aircraft carrier mode, which is basically his robot mode turned down, as can be seen by these fantastic instructions, go make yourself a sandwich. And the jet mode wasn't a million times better. So, Legacy Blitzwing, I will get it. I'm still waiting for it to drop sub £35. It's £35, £34 at Game if you can find one. If I can get one for 30, I'll be very happy. I don't think it warrants that £55 price point, especially considering there is a primed example of a repainted Overcharge coming down the line. We can all see it. And potentially, dare I say it, they may fix some of these issues and release him as a Studio Series 86 bot in some time down the future, as they have done with Cliff Jumper and Cup, and to an extent, not quite the same, Galvatron. Blitzwing is one of my very favourite characters from Generation 1. His storyline was great. He was that kind of bring the balance to the Force, if you like, character in Season 3, who unfortunately didn't get to continue his storyline in this cartoon series because they wanted to sell more Octane, which makes sense, but ultimately his story was never finished. And I've said it before, I'd like to see, one, what happened to Blitzwing before the beginning of More Than Meets the Eye, and two, what happened to him after he left the Decepticons. Anyway, thank you for joining me. It's been wonderful to keep you company for 100 episodes. I hope there will be 100 more. Catch you again next week. Back to the studio.